Hi Livin Guardians, Unseen Inquisitor here. Welcome to New Light Basics. This is a video series in which we take a look at a particular topic per video and go over it with the lens of a newer light, right? Taking what we know and imparting it to any newer lights that might be watching or stumbling across this as a resource to help them out in where to go, what to do, or what to look out for, and things to keep in mind to feel less confused, less lost, and more efficiently able to navigate the Tower of Power. You know, navigating your path to power is always a bit easier with a map, and that's the idea of this series. So pull up a chair, sit down, hang out, and share your thoughts, new or old light, in the comment sections down below and be part of the conversation. Alrighty, let's check out the Arc Hunter. As I mentioned in the Basics of Builds video, if I had to do a new light basic scenario with the Hunter class, I would go with an Arc Hunter with a build that I call the Batman build or the Arkham build. I've been using this build in some form since year 1 of Destiny 2. And as much as I really enjoy the concept and the aesthetic of a spacefaring gunslinger cowboy, the Batman Arkham build for Arc Strider is a lot of fun. We'll look at the abilities, we'll look at the armor, we'll take off this piece since we're not going to be running with an exotic. And when we do, we'll be running with the 6th Coyote. So with that said, this is because the 6th Coyote is what we get from my core array for the exotic armor quest for Arc. Even though it's not Arc-centric, meaning it can be used with any subclass of Hunter, we got it with Arc, we're looking at it here. So with that said, if you don't start off as an Arc Hunter, then obviously you'd have to unlock it ASAP. I don't remember what they start off with. I know Titans start Arc. I'm not sure if everybody does or not. In any case, Arc Strider as a Gathering Storm Super is what I use. I just really enjoy this lightning bolt strike staff concept. It's really fun and it allows me to stay mobile while the super goes off. For abilities, I don't know what you start with. I know you don't start with everything. So whatever needs to be purchased, I would make sure I have Gambler's Dodge. This is half the combo. So when you dodge near enemies, you fully recharge your melee ability. Triple jump is the jump I like the most, so I use that. Combination blow is the other half of that combo. So we go with Gambler's Dodge for the melee ability recharge when we dodge near enemies. And combination blow will grant us class ability energy refill when we defeat an enemy using this ability. On top of that, it also increases your melee damage temporarily when you defeat a target, stacking up to 3 times, combination blow times 3 basically. And after that, and while doing that, every time you get a kill like this, you refresh the timer, which is very nice. When you defeat a target, like I said, with this ability, you also fully refill your class ability energy, and you do restore a small amount of health. Not something to overly rely on, but still something very nice nonetheless. So those two right there, Gambler's Dodge, Combination Blow, that's the combo of this build. For grenades, Storm is very nice, but Pulse is a fantastic grenade. It's considered the best arc grenade by a lot of people, and I think myself included, even though I really enjoy Storm. So I run Pulse Grenade. Aspects, make sure you get Lethal Current and Flow State. Lethal Current, after dodging, your next melee attack has increased lunge range, jolts the target, and damages, or creates a damaging aftershock, and damaging any jolted target with melee attacks also blinds them. This not only provides great add clear AoE stuff, but also gives us potential to stun either Overload or Unstoppable champions without needing a weapon. Flow State, defeating a jolted target makes you amplified. In addition to the amplified effects, we also get our dodge ability more quickly. It recharges more quickly, so if our combo completely breaks down and we don't have either melee or our dodge, but we're amplified, our dodge will recharge more quickly, which is very nice. You are more resilient while dodging, and your reload speed is greatly increased. All these things are very nice, because don't forget that you have weapons and you should be using them. Fragments, we get 4 fragment slots. Spark of Resistance, when you're surrounded by enemies, you are more resistant to incoming damage. We're going to be like the Batman, right? So we're going to be surrounded by enemies a lot. Very helpful. Spark of Feedback, when you take melee damage, you you get a you're briefly increased in your melee damage. So taking melee damage briefly increases your outgoing melee damage is how they word it. You get punched, you punch harder. There you go. We're going to be doing a lot of punching, so we're going to get punched, and it's going to work out nice. Spark of Magnitude. Lingering arc grenades, such as the pulse grenade that we're using, have extended duration, which is nice. I think it pulses 2 extra times, which is pretty cool. And Spark of Shock, your arc grenades jolt targets. This is going to be really helpful. Our arc grenade is going to be like the totally non-lethal battering start to our Arkham-style gameplay, if you will. So, that's the fragments, that's the aspects, that's our abilities. Let's look at the armor mods. That's really going to help this build go crazy. So, no exotics, although exotics, of course, do help. For the helmet, I like hands-on, and then whatever else after that. Hands-on is bonus super energy on melee kills. We're doing a lot of melee kills. That's very nice to have. We're going to be getting our super pretty quick in this build with all our mods and our abilities going off. Gauntlets, I like to run impact induction and heavy-handed. At least one of each is nice. This is really going to allow us to, again, help our abilities out overall, given our boot mods, and again, with impact induction, when we cause damage with a melee attack, we reduce our grenade cooldown. So between our grenades cooling down, using our grenades, super energy, quicker on melee kills, power melee final blows, specifically creating an orb of power, we're starting to really power ourselves up. So power melee final blows, creating an orb of power, very nice. And impact induction, causing damage from melee attack, reduces your grenade cooldown, also very nice. So, chest armor. This tends to be dealer's choice for a lot of builds. This one included, whatever resistances you want to run or whatever else. I actually really like and I recommend emergency reinforcement. We're going to be in the thick of it. We're not going to be running the typical exotics, right, as a newer light, because we might not have them just yet. So, the health regen is a little nice, but if we get hit hard and we get sent into critical when our shield becomes broken, we get a temporary damage reduction to help keep us alive and just, recover our wits about us. So I do like that a lot. So from there, we have the boots. Now the boots, I have an aggressive setup with double absolution and innervation, but you can easily run 1 absolution, 1 innervation, and then either better already or recuperation to be a bit more survivable for the health. The reason I run this aggressively like this is because I tend to run Assassin's Cowl. But even without Assassin's Cowl, this build's great, and you can still run it this aggressive. You just gotta be careful in some harder content for sure. But Absolution reduces all ability cooldowns each time you pick up an Orb of Power, and Innervation reduces grenade cooldown each time you pick up an Orb of Power. Between all this stuff, we should be able to be dodging, punching, and grenade throwing to our heart's content with this build. And lastly, we will be seeing the build in action just like this, and then we'll be seeing the build in action utilizing the 6th Coyote. Now the 6th Coyote has no mods on it just yet, but I'll put Emergency Reinforcement on there, and then I'll put, Harmonic Resistance and Solar Resistance. It's armor, but double dodge. Gain a second dodge charge. That's what the 6th Coyote does. This is what we get as a reward for doing the exotic quest for Arc subclass. It's not tied to Arc specifically. Not at all. Not like the other 2 exotics from the other 2 subclasses for Hunter. But it doesn't mean it's not useful. It'll still be useful, and because it is a more universal exotic, you could run this in any build you wanted for any subclass. So, on the one hand, it would be nice to have maybe a Raid Influx as the reward or whatever, but the thing with the Arc exotic armor pieces for Hunter, they're pretty much tied to Arc Staff, and thus forcing you out of choosing Gathering Storm, which is why I think they went with the 6th Coyote. In any case, I've been going on long enough. This video is going to be a bit long, but let's check out a basic Lost Sector for both with and without the 6th Coyote, and then some random footage to wrap things up if we need it. So I'll see you at the Lost Sector. Alrighty, so here we are on Nessus. I like going to Artifacts Edge and its lost sector for trying things out. I think it's a quick lost sector to get to and showcases stuff nice enough. So we're not in the most dangerous of activities, but we're doing stuff, we're having fun, and that's kind of the point here, just to showcase it. So right off the bat, just killed some dudes to get some speed to get to the lost sector. You can already see kind of how this build is flowing. So I'm not going to be shooting anything, and you'll notice how, as I kind of mentioned before, even without the melee being fully charged up and colored blue, I'm generating orbs of power because I am amplified and everything else, so that is very handy. You don't always have to constantly be dodging. In more serious activities, a dodge can be nice, but you can still be killed while dodging, so sometimes it'll save your bacon to punch something again and keep punching some lower tier things around you just to A, clear them out, and B, get the health and orb and whatever else. So you can see how fast the super bar is actually charging. You can see throwing grenades around, doing stuff. The jolt is really clearing out ads. And again, I'm not trying to showcase this in the most difficult content here, just trying to show how the build flows, what a newer player could be getting involved in. Sometimes you're a bit too fast and slide off and not able to get your melees on, but combination blow ×3 is very powerful. Now, one thing I wanted to specify, because I didn't make the most clear statement earlier, in order to refresh combination blow, you do have to have it fully charged up and basically your melee bar full of blue. You might be generating ores, but you're not refreshing combination blow, so you do need to be what's the word I'm looking for? Fully charged for that. But just that simple, we're able to go through the build, highly energetic, a lot of fun, very powerful, got the super quick, got our abilities really quick, lots of fun being kind of the Batman of the Arkham series here. So next we'll see the 6th Coyote in action in the same spot. Back in action with the 6th Coyote now. 2 dodge charges is very nice. It's just not a particularly crazy exotic to showcase, right? It doesn't do anything unless we dodge again. Having a second dodge is nice, but it's not one of those exotics that are flashy to showcase. It's just, here's another dodge. You do need a fully charged melee to, in combination blow, to both keep combination blow's timer up. It needs a fully charged melee, and to recharge your dodge ability fully with combination blow requires it to be a fully charged melee. So that's one of the things I was testing here. But how this can be useful in more strenuous situations that isn't a basic lost sector is if you're learning the build and you thought you were close enough when you dodged, but turns out you weren't. You now have a second dodge to kind of get a little closer and dodge again to get your melee back. Let's say you dodged, but you dodged into some trouble, or you thought you were dodging away from trouble, but trouble found you and made you absolute, critical health. You can dodge again to try and add some distance to you once more for safety. So it has some capability, don't get me wrong. In any case though, it's more the same. The build does very well. It's high energy, it's a lot of fun. You're constantly on your toes and moving and using your abilities together. This leads to a very fun build, and in higher tier difficulty activities, it still is very fun. You just, instead of not shooting anything like I am here, you will be using your weapons to thin things down and being smart with your aggression and all that jazz. But just wanted to showcase 6th Coyote, which is subclass neutral. You just happen to get it with the Arc exotic quest, which is why we're seeing it here in action. In any case, share your thoughts on this style of build that I call the Batman build in the comment section down below. Consider subscribing to be part of conversations more easily. It helps me out and it helps you out in that capacity. Share any thoughts, questions, comments, whatever else in the comment section down below. And until next time, Guardians, stay frosty.